Alright, going to have a little crack here at making a more updated dev diary video. We'll see how we go. It's a little bit crazy in a way how little I feel like I've gotten done, but I've gotten a lot done in the background. I kind of want to reinvent how this whole menu works. This is kind of just currently a look at all the test levels I've got in a kind of a list. Let's jump in and just look at my kind of long-standing test level about finding the book in the top of this tower. As usual, my disclaimers still stand. I've got a bunch of thief voices for the guards and thief sounds and stuff in there. So please forgive me for that. So I've made the ambient lighting level a lot darker, which I should have done ages ago, I guess, but it's just one of those things that I only just sort of figured out quite the best way to do that. So, and I've made an attachment system so that the characters can carry stuff around and drop things when they get killed and stuff. So this guy has a torch, which he's kind of carrying at a bit of a funny angle, just based on his animation he's got, and a crossbow. Giving him a dong on the head, and he's dropped his crossbow and his torch. Torch kind of should go out, but at the moment it just drops. We can carry our own little torch around. So I worked on reflection probes and got kind of got that all sorted out a lot better. I've just been kind of trying to solidify all of the sort of basic foundational sort of systems in the game, especially the lighting and things like that. And I've also worked on the AI a bit so that all of the characters can get hit, have ragdolls, and stuff like that. It took me quite a while to get ragdolls all sorted out. I had to sort of learn more about the character joints and things like that. And I've also been working on Blender modeling some new pieces for these castles. At the moment they've just got a bare bones set of pieces, but they've got thicker walls so that the reflection probes can be set up and not sort of bleed onto the other side of the wall. So I feel good that I've sort of solidified the sort of integrity of a bunch of these things. Like these guys are reacting to the light nicely when they go in and out of light. I can actually sort of switch between the time of day here quickly to test that all out. So this guy should see me, I guess. So you can see them sort of updating pretty nicely. I also tweaked their actual materials, so I'm just kind of trying to understand all these features nicely. So I think the lighting's working quite nicely and kind of reacting to surfaces and the guards and stuff. Well, the guards all have their own probe that they carry around, but there's sort of a special priority order for whether they're using the sort of global probe or a room probe or their own probe. All of that took me quite a while to figure out. So that's feeling solid. I also have just been tinkering with little things that sort of would let me feel like I could actually ship a game. This used to be a really hard, straight Falloff, but now there's sort of some organic noise in there with how it... Let's test out my Ragdoll exploder. This is my special Ragdoll test equipment. Whee! So we'll change the time of day.
It's just there. Where is he?
So, the insides look a lot sort of nicer and darker. These are some pieces I've made in Blender, and I've been using a sort of a new bunch of materials that I've jazzed up to kind of look nice. So these rooms are still pretty bare bones, but they're looking more like what I want them to look like. Like they're dark, and you actually have to like light a torch or maybe do some sort of little light magic spell or something to see what's going on in here. These stairs are kind of stupid, but I need to build a better stairway. It's cool just seeing these guys move around and seeing the light shining off the walls and stuff as they move around. These shadows are a little bit weird, but the angle of the torches are sort of not good. But it's cool to be like, okay, you can use their light to sort of see what's going on, but also have to dodge and avoid being seen. So lots to do, but made some good progress there with some of those elements. And I like the way these guys can drop their equipment. Some of the stuff I want to work on next is giving these guys a broader set of behaviors and animations. At the moment they just really have their locomotion, walk around state, even when they're fighting. You know, they're really just playing their walk or idle animation. I also had a facial animation system going, which sort of made them look angry or frustrated and stuff. I haven't looked at that for a while, but I sort of feel like it's not working properly anymore, so I might need to go and fiddle with that. I want to start building out a bunch of environments like dungeons and different spaces to go to. I did also get the crossbow working in a basic way. And you can also blow up these sort of explosive barrels. I don't know if we can see one around here somewhere. There's one there. And they blow up guys as well. So that's kind of cool. I need to add... Sort of weird to spend a lot of time on all these things and then still sort of feel like, okay, it's been a long time since I've even done a dev diary, but I haven't added that much gameplay or got that much sort of the player's equipment working and stuff. Hey, what are you guys doing? Let's go to another level. That's a lighting test. This is a place that I built where I was just experimenting with more of a handmade level. So I built this space out. It's sort of a custom level, but it gets propped down onto a procedurally generated island. So it's a little different each time, but I was just experimenting with making a bunch of modular environment pieces. Let's put the torch on so we can sort of see what we're doing. I made these bridge pieces that are sort of made out of a few, you know, you can make different types of bridges with the pieces. And these sort of temple pieces. Just to sort of experiment with making more of a location. So I modeled these sort of just some basic decorations and pieces and walls and stuff. So these are some lizard guys that I've had in for a while, but they didn't really work. They didn't, like, you couldn't hit them and they didn't have ragdolls, so that sort of works. I need to make their tails and stuff ragdoll properly. Z fighting things there. I was just playing around with my modular kit. Still got a few issues. So the list of things to do is very large. Like, they don't actually notice things like an explosion going off. So that's one thing I also have to do, is have them sort of have events that happen in the world that get sent around to their perceptions, and they can sort of process them like, oh, did I hear that? Should I go and investigate it? And also things like, can they partially see the player and partially hear the player and go and investigate that? So I also want to, I want to use Dungeon to generate some dungeons. I was going to sort of write all my own generators, but in a way, Dungeon looks really cool. This Unity asset, so I think I might try to build out some things with that. But these are some little spaces I was experimenting with. Different sort of arches, stairways, halls and things. Alright, let's jump in somewhere else. So there's that, we've got the Lizard Temple. These are really just sort of randomly generated levels with orcs, fish people, etc. just to sort of set them up and test them and stuff. Got these little funny goblins. I do like to blow up the goblins. It's fun blowing up goblins. So this is more of a foresty place. Jump out. I'm hunting goblins. So I also need to make these characters look at you, like an IK look at with their head. Let's try to hit them in the feet so they really go flying. Whee! I had a lot of problems with the Ragdolls because I wasn't sort of totally carefully disabling every element of the character before I ragdolled them, and it was making them explode because it'd kind of have like their animator or their rigid body or their navigation kind of still fighting to control them, and it took me a while to figure that out fully. I also bought a Steam Deck and got the game transferred over to the Steam Deck, and it actually, apart from a few things on the menus, it all works great because it's already sort of hooked up to work with an Xbox controller, and the Steam Deck does just make that sort of default. So that was good. Frame rate's pretty decent on it, so I've at least got a starting point there. Really want the game to work well on Steam Deck and to be fully sort of Steam Deck and Steam compatible. I also made it so that the animals tilt with the environment. So as they go up a hill, they'll sort of lean into it. So I just wanted to get all those things out of the way that sort of make it like, well, I could ship it like that, you know, I could definitely make it better, but it's like, oh, that's a lot better. Now they go up and down the terrains instead of before they sort of just ran along totally level. So lots to do, and these guys need IK feet as well. But I've certainly laid... Oh, and I also integrated InTerra, an asset that lets you... It's got some fancier terrain shader features. It's basically just a terrain shader. And I integrated that in, and also got a whole lot of fancier terrain textures prepared. I haven't gone through and really jazzed up all the biomes and terrains, but I did a few, and I got all the basic kind of settings for that working nicely. So that was nice too. Let's blow this guy up. The problem with having my little ragdoll grenade launcher in is that it's fun to use, and it makes me want to put something like that in the game. Yeah. It'd be kind of cool to have a little remote detonator bomb packs or something. So, trying to think if there's anything else to include. It's been a long time since I've made a dev diary. I've been making lots and lots of behind the scenes design note videos, which are sort of my own little journal for myself to look back on, which I'd like to release one day. Probably if the game is actually something that people think is cool, then I might release those as a sort of something interesting to watch, but they're probably not very interesting until then. I found the goblin flag. Hey, buddy. Anything else to look at? There's other creatures, but we've kind of... Oh, there is one level here that's a big sprawling level. Let's make it daytime and have a little look around. So this is an example of a very broad island. Which probably affects the frame rate a bit, but kind of interesting to see. These are still the old terrain textures on this one. So we've got a little scallywag here. He's got a sword, although he's kind of doing his crossbow animations like the other guys. Where are you off to, buddy? Hey, mate. So, there you have it.